Hello everyone, and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. We have a 2v2 for you guys today on Mudfight. I'm playing with Blind Bandit, also known as Rara, and I'm playing against Han and Chinese name, and I don't know how to read Chinese, but that was what I was informed it was pronounced as by the player itself. It's meant to be a little bit of a joke for people who don't read Chinese. Now, if that's not what it actually means, I have no idea. So this is the story of two very different openers, and then two very different sort of takes at the game and at the map, right? So most of my openers headed down to Dimitri. I have an AN, I have an M91 Vihor, I have an M91A Vihor back here, lots of heavy armor, some supporting elements, and it's all about to get Kernost. So Chinese name with a Kernost there, and I'm trying to move out of the road as soon as we see it. It does take a little bit of fire, and this is interesting. I don't know what he clicked on, but it looked like it was a bit of a swing and a miss. So my M84AN took 1 point of damage and is shaken. My mortars were just stunned, and nothing else is really damaged, so my M91A Vihor still able to move up, the M91 Vihor still able to move up, all of my supporting infantry still able to move up, and you can see we didn't have nearly the investment in the air game as they did. Let's just take a pause here real quick. We've already killed a Kernos, the one helicopter down. I think there was a, oh no, Cepha E right here, Siphon, there should be another Cepha E back there as well, and then while they have two Leopard 2A5s on the ground, we have two Modernas from Blind Bandit, an M91A and an M91 from me, and it's a much heavier investment in the tank game early on. So the 2A5s do screen out those Modernas, and that is something I think the 2A5s win in a straight fight. I'm not really sure. The Modernas, of course, are more of a multi-purpose. They can screen out against infantry and things like that a bit better. And we have another plane, a Barak this time, looking for my M91A, not able to get the kill, taken down. That's already so many points in the air. Planes just one-way trips, basically, and that was sort of the hope that we had. That was our strategy for this match, is, I mean, double Kuban 4 from Blind Bandit, Strop 2, Sava. I'm a little bit light on the anti-plane, anti-air, but that is thankfully taken care of by my ally here, so some nice teamwork on that side, although I think this was before, this game is relatively old. You can see I'm a sergeant, not a sergeant major, and I have been a sergeant major recently. So my buying choices have hopefully gotten better since this game a little bit. But Merkava 2A moving up on that side, I'm trying to engage with the 2T55A is Vijix, but this might have been a little bit stupid. So, of course, these guys have nowhere near as heavy armor as Merkava 2A with 18 frontal armor for 90 points. I mean, that's just so much armor at that price point. I mean, not the most ammunition, but still, that's why it's so flipping hard to kill. And I am calling in some reinforcements over into Anna, which maybe not the best idea, to be honest. If we can win in Dimitri, and right now, I mean, let's look at this. We have my two V-Hordes are damaged, so I should be, yep, there they are. I have some resupply on the way, but then between them and the two Modernas, we should be able to outfight just two 2A5s, and do so with potentially another advantage on the ground, just because we haven't been spending as much in the air. But Merkava 2A on that side, nice sneaky advance there from the Blue 4 team, and there's just a Strop 2, 25k unfortunately does lose vision. And this is going to be a little bit of a challenge. There's a Velitelska UAZ over here, but basically not much in Feder. And this actually, I think, was a really nice play on the Blue 4 side, because, I mean, from their perspective, they're counting 4 super heavies or quasi super heavies on this side, plus an M84AN. That's such a huge investment, there can't really be all that many points for other places in the map. So a very nice decision to stretch the engagement there and to try and go around our defenses. 25k circling will be able to take it out if he pops his head out. But that's a really big responsive investment. That's 130 points. The Merkava 2A is just 90, and may even be carrying infantry that far forward too. So 2A5 does take a shot from a Droog team, and these guys are damaged enough. We're going to be forcing them back here just for a little bit. But my own tanks are just now being healed up, and this is a bit of a problem. I've tried to shift forward resupply units to earlier in your buy order, and I highly recommend that you do that if you are playing with super heavies, just to decrease their downtime, right? So they go up. The initial engagements, unless it goes perfectly, they are going to get damaged, and yes, lots of defense pings right here. So I do have Padobranchi, and I've needed some more cheap chaff than I had, but the idea was get Padobranchi to hold this section of woods, and then also bring up some ATGMs to shoot into this hollow section and prevent them from pushing in to the bottom right corner, because as long as I hold this corner, I can resupply and reinforce in here relatively well. So that was the intention there. We'll see if it works out. In the meantime, M84AN and the 91A Vihor pushing forward, trying to get some good kills. Droog team firing in against the AMX-10RC, but unfortunately, I block off line of sight with my own smoke. So a bit of a self-own there, a little bit of an own goal. But I mean, that happens sometimes, and I certainly am trying to get better at my smoke micro. I was trying basically to create a screen out section for my other tanks to move up and get a good engagement without getting shot from that left-hand side. Rov 890, meanwhile, will be engaging with T-55s and Mechanizovna. That will go very much in my favor, as the T-55As just, yeah, panic stunned, unhappy Rov 8, and the mortar support has been able to take out most of another group of Rov 890 that did unfortunately get the jump on my Potobronki. Here's the 2A. And I didn't know it at the time, but I think he's actually nearly out of ammunition. Yeah, okay, his main gun is out of ammunition, but the Droog team side shot, there you go, 1 hit, 1 kill, and that is exactly why I brought these Droog teams up, is just to fend off any armor on that side of the board. And of course, Israel, even in the woods, is relatively dependent on their armor. So you see a lot of Merkava 2As, you'll see things like Auxiliaries, and it does look like there were, yeah, so we do lose Feder for a bit, because the Merkava 2A on the right-hand side did have Rov 890 in it, and the Modernas from Blind Bandit here actually cycled all the way over to deal with this threat. So attack moving toward our own side of the field into the woods. I mean, they put us in a bit of a spot, that's for sure. In the meantime, there's a Para, and that Para did kill my M84AN, and I got a little bit overzealous here, and I don't really know how to deal with that. It has really long-range spikes, well, spike NLOSs, which are even more deadly, 27 AP, 60% accuracy, decent stabilizer even. And I was sitting there going, okay, what do I do to deal with this? My Droog teams can't shoot far enough. My Vihor can't shoot far enough, and will just get mulched by that armor piercing. And we can watch it, he's moving over here, and my worry is if he splits the direction of the 2A5s, I mean, this is creating engagement that I really don't want to take, because the Para, in response to my M91A shooting at the 2A5s, is going to have a targeting solution. There it is, 1 shot, 4 points of damage, so he does need to hit a couple times, but pretty quick rate of fire there, and basically only my smoke response to the M91A is able to keep him alive. So we're retreating back, we are going to be healing him up, we're not down and out of it yet, and you can see my response is to push forward in Anna, as well as get a couple more supporting units into the town on the left-hand side, and just try to deny them the ground that way. And it is a little bit risky, but I'm hopeful that we can get some good engagements here. The issue is also the air support. There's a second, well, I think there was a second Kurnos, and then there's a Lavi as well from Chinese name, just trying to kill everything in this town, and yeah, it does a pretty good job. So it takes out most of my Mechanizovna, takes out my allies, ATGM team. They are, of course, very fragile, very susceptible to that sort of bombing run, but Merkava 2As, not really where they want to be. So Droog team, unfortunately, has a miss there, but my Vihor does not. That's 6 points of damage, and second shot on the way? Maybe? Yep, there it is. And yeah, we took it on a little bit of side armor, but that was intentional to make sure that the Para didn't get front armor, because we're down to 3 points of strength here and just trying to retreat back. You can see how much of a difficult situation that single Para has put us in. I mean, I know ATGMs are, in theory, easy to counter with smoke, but just look at the situational disadvantage that created. That's so much more impactful than the bombers and the Kurnoses that we had in this game already, which is a little bit weird to say, because the Kurnos is a phenomenal tool. In fact, this is the first time really in this game that Blue 4 has really had a pretty good chance of taking back the center of the field, because my M91A Vihor is in full retreat, the M91 behind it isn't a true super heavy, and without the Zelaznichi and the 0810s from Blind Bandit, I wouldn't really have that much chaff either, and I'm actually helping them a little bit by allowing them to move up into my smoke, which was a little bit galling at the time. I was very unhappy with that. It was sort of like, hey, no, that was supposed to screen off against your units, and now you're using it to hide in. So, I mean, keep in mind, smoke is just on the field. It works for no man. And now the suggestion from Blind Bandit is just to push forward. I do have a bit of an overinvestment in this side, but we may as well make use of it because we have the points on the ground, and getting the entirety of Anna will allow us to go back to ticking at +1, which we haven't actually ever done in this match. We've been behind by 32 points because of losing Feder. Another Lavi bomber coming in, and that I think means 2 of them have been bought because it's too quick succession for one of them to have loaded back up. Let's see if this guy gets out, and no. Very much a one-way trip there, and he's doing it for 2 T-55As that don't even die, so unfortunately no real return on investment from that Lavi bomber. I struggle with getting return on investment with those guys as well. I mean, as people who've been around the channel for a while will know, I'm really not the best as Israel. I tend to just use the units at the wrong times, and if you don't like using units at the wrong times, I do just want to ask for a like, share, subscribe, and all that YouTuber nonsense. I hate asking for it, but it really does help, and the fact that it makes me feel a little bit dirty while I'm asking is just, It's an unfortunate thing. But we are pushing now forward in Anna. We're also trying to get the M91 AV Horde nearly back to full health here and back up and into the action, as that singular Leopard 2A5 left from Hun to Hun is a threat that I do want to kill, and the M91 isn't enough to take that out. So 20 AP on the main gun is going to run into 22 frontal armor, and that's very much not a recipe for success. In the meantime, the 2A5's gun is enough to penetrate the V-Horse 18 frontal armor. So, I mean, I used to think of the M91 as like a super heavy replacement. It's really not. The M91A is able to take engagements that the M91 just can't. You do have to be aware of that when you're calling in these reinforcements. If I was able to go back and do this game again, I would have just called out 2 M91As. Heavier armor, you do lose a bit of other supporting units, but I had a little bit too many to begin with, so I think we would have been fine there. And it's just sort of, it's one of those things. It's why I watch the replays, it's why I try to get better with these replays, just because there's always things to learn from. So the Para, meanwhile, is finishing the job that the Lobby started and shooting in at my T-55As. My Sava is also out of ammunition, did comport himself very well here, but I should be removing him backwards. All of my focus is on the tank micro, and because of that, I lose a fair number of units to that Para, but we do screen out in Cepha B with BVP M80As. That's why I said, I think in a video recently, that these guys, I mean, they punch way above 15 points. The 55-point helicopter taken out by 30 points worth of BVPs, and we're going to follow it up with a 40-point Siphon. So, yeah, I mean, well, I guess I was hoping we would. I think they lost line of sight there because of the angle, as a Siphon did just sort of move a little bit too far for my BVPs to handle. But there it is. We move up in, and look at the speed of that helicopter kill. That thing was just amazing, frankly. So, Panther dropping up some Commando Marine, but we have spotted it. The Para also is spotted, and now that we have Droog teams forward and some M80As, we might be able to get some returning fire onto that Para. Also, some really nice use of Mi-17s from Blind Bandit. I've been learning a lot about how to play USSR from Blind, because I think it is also sort of reliant on that combined arms tactics, and of course, Mi-17s are somewhat ubiquitous. These guys are Czech. The Soviet call them something else, the Mi-8 MTVs, but it's basically the same helicopter. It's functionally the same thing, and I think that actually did kill the Para. A little bit hard to tell. Anyway, this is sort of going to be the near the end of the game, because Anna is just completely under our control. Feder has been reclaimed, and the advances on this side, 27, that was it, 25k killed the Para, and then was taken down in turn. But the Rafale buy from Han to Hun is very expensive and is going to be taking fire. So let's see, 2 shots, 2 misses there, and it's a tad unfortunate. Let's see what this is as well. Another plane buy from Chinese name, another Lavi. I think this might be the first one because he did get out in his first bombing run, so that's probably the first of 2 there. And it is going to be devastating. Lekha Pechota, Mechanizovna, Droog teams, all of it infantry in every single town block. 1.5 kills basically off the Lavi, which I don't think we have shot down, although... yeah, the Kub M4s are out of ammunition. That's really unfortunate for us. They are pretty wonderful, but very limited ammunition, just 3 shots, and they'll usually use 2 of it per time that a plane comes in, right? So you have 1 plane come in, they shoot twice, the group is now down to, 2 shots remaining, but that's only 1 per, and then 1 hit, 1 miss, the enemy plane gets out. So they're definitely taking use of the observation that our anti-air was down. Pretty lucky that my M91 AV Horse survived there. The Barak could have gotten the kill, and just a bit of a swing and a miss. Now the 3B is 155 points. That is a fight that I do want with both of my V-Horse. The M91 would struggle on its own, yes, but the M91A should be able to do decently well there. And the M91 is immediately being walked back, trying to make sure that I don't lose that expensive piece. So we are taking it +2, and that is going to be all she wrote as the Blue 4 team does surrender. Let's take a look at some highlight units on my side of the board. Kills, losses, 22-15 to 16-65, and yeah, I think we both had some pretty good ratios of kills and losses there on the Red 4 team. Sava did wonderfully, double Cepha E and a Siphon and a Panther. Very much unfortunate that I lost him to the Para, but I think we got our money back. I mean, that's 140, 180, 215 off a single Sava. You can see why I like these guys so much. They're just really, really nice. M91 AV Horde did not get a return on investment, so I was never actually able to kill the 2A5. We screened him out a couple of times, forced him to retreat, but never actually solidified that kill, and my M91 was basically useless. Got 5 points of reservist. So these tanks, I guess, today are anti-highlighted. They're the worst performing units for the price. But the Pato Blanchi did very well, and my BVPs did very well. One of them actually got a PH2 Tiger. I'm sorry I missed that on the replay. I actually didn't notice it myself. either in the game or looking at the replay to prep this, just because it wasn't where my attention was drawn to. So I do apologize for that, because that BVP is definitely our MVP for this match. So that's going to be all we've got for you guys today. Thank you all for hanging around, and we'll see you again real soon.